Hello everyone. Today I'm coming to you live from inside the teacher workroom at Green Hope High School. Okay, I'm not live, but I am in the teacher workroom. Today's PowerPoint is getting us all revved up for the Civil War. Probably the key issue causing the most tension, of course, was slavery and the admission of new states. And this threatened to upset the balance of power in our government. So here we go. In this PowerPoint, we're going to highlight the issues and events leading up to the beginning of the Civil War. It's called The Rising Tide of Protest and Violence, and it is covered in Chapter 6, Sections 1, 2, and 3 of your orange textbook. We're going to finish talking about Goal 2, Objective 4, discuss how sectionalism and nationalism is related to the events and issues leading up to the Civil War. Also, Goal 3, Objective 1, trace the events between the end of the Mexican-American War and the beginning of the Civil War. And also Goal 3, Objective 2, analyze the causes of the Civil War. The essential questions we'll answer are: what developments deepened the divisions between the North and the South? And how did the Union finally collapse into the Civil War? One of the most disputed things that happened during this time was the enforcement of the Fugitive Slave Act. This required citizens to catch and return runaway slaves to their, quote, owner. And it says owner in quotation marks because sometimes the recaptures were legitimate. Other times they were simply capturing free African Americans and putting them into enslavement, possibly for the first time. Any citizen who assisted runaway slaves could be fined or imprisoned as part of the Fugitive Slave Act. And no evidence was needed to claim someone as your slave, often leading to the kidnappings of free blacks. Here's an example. There's also some illustrations here. But here's an example of an advertisement, and I'll give you a chance to read it. You can see that it describes, the ad describes the slave that has run away. And one of the descriptors is the marks of a whip, one of them running straight down the back. And then you'll see that there are 3 different rewards offered depending on where he's captured. Many Northerners feel that the Fugitive Slave Act forces them to support the institution of slavery, and some respond by nullifying these laws and passing personal liberty laws. Okay, personal liberty laws call for the arrest of slave catchers, and they charge these men with kidnapping. So that was their way of resisting the fugitive slave laws. And the illustration there on the right is a very famous illustration advocating for the emancipation of the slaves. Northern blacks mobilize, and you start to see some very aggressive resistance from African American themselves. One of these was in the Christiana riot, which was an effort to protect runaway slaves from slave catchers in Pennsylvania. And in this particular instance, a slave owner was killed, and white bystanders who saw it happen refused to intervene. They felt it was a just killing. This was just one example of Northern resistance to the Fugitive Slave Act.